Jax's revenge domain.
Bryce called me legacy baggage like it was some kind of disease. Not outdated, not old school, legacy baggage. Like 27 years of keeping this place running was something you'd throw in a dumpster behind a strip mall. I'm Warren Sullivan, 49 years old, and I've been fixing things that shouldn't break since I got out of the Navy. Nuclear reactor maintenance teaches you patience. It also teaches you that when someone with an MBA starts messing with systems they don't understand, people get hurt. The meeting was supposed to be about operational efficiency optimization. That's corporate speak for we're firing the expensive guys. Bryce sat behind his glass desk in the conference room wearing sneakers that probably cost more than most people's car payments. Everything about him screamed venture capital money and zero factory floor experience. Warren, he said, pulling up a PowerPoint that looked like it was designed by someone who'd never seen actual manufacturing equipment. We're transitioning to a more agile operational framework. Your approach, while historically valuable, represents legacy methodology that doesn't align with our forward-thinking automation initiatives. I set my coffee mug down on his glass table, didn't use a coaster. Old habits from the shop floor. You saying I'm fired? We're restructuring your position to create space for next-generation technical leadership. So I'm fired. He shifted in his chair like he was explaining quantum physics to a 5-year-old. The new automation system we're implementing, Sullivan Tech Control Systems, it's revolutionary, completely modernizes our production capabilities. We need fresh perspectives to maximize its potential. That's when my wrench slipped, metaphorically speaking. Sullivan Tech Control Systems. The kid was firing me to implement my own patents. Tell me about this Sullivan Tech system, I said, keeping my voice level the way they taught us in the Navy when the reactor temperature started climbing. $2.8 million investment, Bryce said, clicking to a slide that showed my own schematics with a fresh corporate logo slapped on top. Fully automated assembly line integration, quality control algorithms, real-time diagnostic monitoring. It's exactly what this company needs to compete in the modern marketplace. I recognized every line of code in that presentation. I'd written it in my garage over 3 years, starting about 6 years ago when I first realized Midwest Industrial Solutions was the kind of company that would sell their grandmother's wheelchair for quarterly profit margins. Filed the patents in 2018 right after I'd finished the prototype testing, but before I ever mentioned the system to management. Patent numbers 11,247,892 through 11,247,896.
All registered under Warren D. Sullivan, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Sounds impressive, I said. Who developed it?
Turnkey solution from a specialized automation firm. Cutting-edge stuff, way beyond anything we've been working with internally. The kid had bought my own system without knowing it came from the guy he was about to fire for being too old school. I stood up and shook his hand. Good luck with the implementation. We appreciate your years of service, Warren. HR will handle the transition paperwork. I walked out of that conference room like I was leaving a nuclear submarine after a successful mission. Calm, controlled with a plan already forming. My truck started on the first turn the way it had for the last 200,000 miles. I drove home through the industrial section of Grand Rapids, past the other manufacturing plants that guys like Bryce were probably targeting for optimization. The lunch whistle was blowing at Steelcase. Shift change at Wolverine Worldwide. Real work done by real people who understood that efficiency comes from experience, not PowerPoint slides. Tommy was in the driveway when I pulled up, working on his dirt bike engine with the timing light I'd taught him to use. 16 years old and already better with small engines than most certified mechanics. His mother, Patricia, would have been proud. Cancer took her 3 years ago, but she'd raised a good kid before that. Home early, he said, not looking up from the carburetor. Got some paperwork to handle. Company stuff. Patent stuff. That got his attention. I'd been teaching him about intellectual property since he was old enough to hold a wrench. In America, your ideas are your property. You protect them the same way you'd protect your house or your truck. Remember those automation patents I filed back in 2018? The ones for the assembly line robots? Company just bought them from a middleman for $8 million. Tommy's wrench stopped moving. They bought your patents without knowing they're mine, and then they fired you for being legacy baggage. My son grinned the way kids do when they realize the adults screwed up worse than usual. That's gonna hurt. I spent that evening in my workshop, pulling out the patent documentation I'd kept in the fireproof safe next to my discharge papers and Tommy's birth certificate. Everything properly notarized, properly filed, properly documented. The Navy teaches you that paperwork can save your life if you do it right. Patent 11,247,892. Automated Assembly Line Integration Protocol Patent 11,247,893, Real-Time Quality Control Algorithm Suite Patent 11,247,894, Diagnostic Monitoring and Alert System Patent 11,247,895, Production Flow Optimization Framework Patent 11,247,896. Emergency Shutdown and Safety Override $208 million for a system they already owned, if they'd bothered to keep the guy who built it. Each patent filed with detailed documentation showing development timeline, prototype testing, and my signature on every page. The kind of bulletproof intellectual property protection you get when you've spent 20 years watching companies screw over good engineers. Monday morning, Midwest Industrial Solutions started their big automation rollout. I wasn't there to see it, but Eddie Kowalski called me around 10 a.m. Eddie's been running the shop floor for 15 years. Good man, understands that machines are only as smart as the people maintaining them. Warren, you need to get down here. This new system's throwing error codes nobody's seen before. What kind of errors? Authorization failures. Says it requires licensed operator credentials for system access. I smiled into the phone. That's a feature, not a bug. What do you mean? Systems designed to prevent unauthorized users from accessing core functions. Safety protocol. Bryce is freaking out. He's got consultants flying in from Chicago. Let me know how that works out. The consultants lasted 3 days. High-priced automation experts who couldn't figure out why a $2.8 million system was locked tighter than Fort Knox. They tried password overrides, system resets, even brought in specialists from the company that sold Bryce the licensing package. Nothing worked. The system would power up, run diagnostics, then display a cheerful message, licensed operator authorization required. Contact system administrator for access credentials. The system administrator was sitting in his workshop in Grand Rapids, teaching his son how to rebuild a transmission while the corporate world burned down around their own stupidity. By Friday, Midwest Industrial Solutions had burned through $50,000 in consulting fees and lost a full week of production. The assembly line sat silent. Quality control stations blinked red error lights. Even the basic material handling systems refused to operate without proper credentials. Eddie called again that evening. Bryce wants to know if you'd consider coming back on a consulting basis. What's the rate? He didn't say, but he's looking pretty desperate. Tell him my consulting rate is $500 an hour, minimum 8-hour days, payment up front. Warren, that's fair market rate for someone who actually knows how the system works. Over the weekend, I called Jim Sheffield at Sheffield Legal Group. He'd handled my original patent filings back in 2018. Good lawyer, understands that in business, timing is everything. Warren, how can I help you? Need to send a cease and desist letter. Patent infringement, commercial use of protected intellectual property without licensing agreement. How much damages are we talking about? $2.8 million initial investment. Unknown production losses. Figure $14 million for a reasonable licensing fee. 5 times the investment. Industry standard for unlicensed patent usage. Plus consultation fees for system integration support. They're going to fight this. Let them. I've got 27 years of documentation. 5 registered patents, and a paper trail showing I offered to license the technology to them 4 years ago. They turned it down. Said they weren't interested in experimental automation concepts. That was the beautiful part. Back in 2019, I'd formally presented the Sullivan system to Carl Hoffman and the management team. 40-page proposal with cost projections, implementation timeline, and licensing terms. They'd rejected it outright. Said the company was committed to proven methodologies and not looking to implement unproven technologies. I still had their email response. While we appreciate your innovation, Midwest Industrial Solutions is not prepared to invest in speculative automation upgrades at this time. Now they'd paid $8 million to license the same system from a middleman who'd probably bought my patents from some technology broker for pennies on the dollar. The cease and desist letter arrived at Midwest Industrial Solutions on Monday morning, hand-delivered by a process server who probably enjoyed watching Bryce's face when he read the legal terms. Sheffield Legal Group RE Patent Infringement Notice. Sullivan Control Systems Licensing Technology Usage. Violation Immediate Cease and Desist Required. Eddie called me an hour later. His voice sounded strained. Warren, I think Bryce just had some kind of breakdown. He's locked in his office, screaming at lawyers on the phone. System still down. Dead as disco. But here's the thing. We pulled the user manual for the Sullivan system. Guess who's listed as the primary technical contact for troubleshooting support? Warren D. Sullivan, lead systems engineer. Bingo. Your name's all over the documentation, system architecture, troubleshooting protocols, emergency procedures, everything. That afternoon, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. The caller ID just showed Midwest Industrial. Mr. Sullivan? This is Bryce Whitman. I think there's been some kind of misunderstanding. His voice had lost all its corporate confidence. Sounded like a kid who just realized he'd been playing with dynamite. No misunderstanding. You bought my patents from a licensing company without checking the ownership records. Now you want me to fix the system I designed after you fired me for being legacy baggage. We can work something out. I'm sure we can find a mutually beneficial arrangement. $14 million licensing fee, plus $500 per hour consulting rate for system integration, plus public acknowledgement that Sullivan Control Systems was developed by Midwest Industrial Solutions' former senior automation engineer. That's not realistic. You spent $2.8 million on a system you can't operate. Production's been down for a week. You're burning cash faster than a drag racer. What's not realistic is thinking you can steal 27 years of engineering experience and then ask for help when your theft doesn't work. The line went quiet for a long moment. I could hear him breathing, probably calculating how much money he was losing every hour the plant stayed shut down. I need to discuss this with my board. You do that. My offer expires Friday at 5 p.m. I hung up on him. Thursday morning brought another call from Eddie. Production had been dead for 10 days now. The entire facility looked like a museum exhibit of expensive automation equipment that nobody could operate. Warren, they hired some hotshot law firm from Detroit. Bryce thinks he can prove you developed the patents on company time. Let them try. I filed everything 6 months before I ever mentioned the system to management. Plus, I've got time-stamped emails showing I offered to license it to them in 2019 and they said no. What emails? Carl Hoffman's response, quote, "While we appreciate your innovation, Midwest Industrial Solutions is not prepared to invest in speculative automation upgrades at this time," dated March 15, 2019. Sent from his company email account. Jesus. Warren, you really thought this through. Navy teaches you to document everything. Saves your life when people start pointing fingers. Friday at 40:45 p.m., my phone rang. Bryce again. "Mr. Sullivan, we need to discuss terms. Terms expired 15 minutes ago. Price just went up to $16 million. You can't be serious. Dead serious. Every day this drags out, the licensing fee increases. Monday, it'll be $18 million. Tuesday, $20 million. Eventually, you'll be looking at more than the entire company's worth. The lawsuit came Tuesday. Bryce hired Peterson and Associates, the kind of downtown law firm that charges $800 an hour to tell rich people what they want to hear. They filed a motion claiming the patents were invalid because I'd allegedly developed the technology while employed by Midwest Industrial Solutions, making it company property under my employment contract. Problem was, my employment contract specifically excluded inventions developed on personal time using personal resources. I'd made sure of that when they hired me back in 1996. Even had a lawyer review the language before I signed. Sheffield pulled out the employment file during discovery. There it was, plain English. Employee retains ownership of inventions developed independently outside normal work hours, using personal equipment and resources, provided said inventions do not directly compete with companies' existing product lines. Sullivan Automation didn't compete with anything Midwest Industrial was making. They manufactured industrial components. I'd built software systems. Two completely different markets. The discovery phase lasted 3 months. Sheffield requested every email, every meeting note, every document related to automation discussions between 2018 and 2024. What we found was a paper trail showing management consistently rejecting automation proposals, while I was developing the patents on my own time. Carl Hoffman's email from 2019 wasn't the only rejection. There were 4 separate presentations I'd made between 2018 and 2020. Each time offering to license the technology to the company for reasonable terms. Each time, management declined, not interested in experimental systems. Focus on proven manufacturing methods. Automation upgrades not in current budget. Company committed to existing operational framework. Meanwhile, my development notes showed steady progress on the Sullivan system, all time-stamped, all done in my home workshop using equipment I'd bought with my own money. Photography of prototype testing, video documentation of system trials, even receipts for components and software licenses. The trial started in February. Peterson and Associates brought in expert witnesses who testified that no single engineer could have developed such a comprehensive automation suite without significant corporate resources and support. Sheffield brought in my documentation, 3 years of development notes, prototype testing results, component purchase records, and 5 approved patents with my name on them as sole inventor. The defense tried to argue that my Navy background gave me unfair advantage in developing automation systems, as if military training somehow invalidated intellectual property rights. The judge shut that down fast. Military service and technical expertise are assets, not disqualifications for patent ownership. Peterson and Associates shifted strategy, claiming the patents were too broad and should be invalidated for prior art violations. They brought in a parade of automation experts who claimed similar systems existed before 2018. Sheffield countered with the Patent Office's own examination records. Each of my 5 patents had been thoroughly reviewed for prior art during the original filing process. The Patent Office had found my implementation sufficiently novel and non-obvious to warrant protection. Week 2 of the trial focused on the 2019 email exchanges. Peterson and Associates tried to argue that my licensing offers proved I'd developed the technology for company use, making it company property regardless of when I'd filed the patents. That backfired spectacularly. The email record showed management explicitly rejecting the technology, stating they had no interest in automation upgrades. How could they claim ownership of something they'd officially declined to pursue? Bryce took the stand during week 3. Under cross-examination, he admitted he'd never seen the Sullivan patents before purchasing the licensing package, never researched the original inventor, never checked whether the technology had any connection to current or former employees. You paid $2.8 million for technology without performing basic due diligence? Sheffield asked. We relied on the licensing company's representations. Did you know Warren Sullivan had offered this exact technology to your company 5 years earlier? I wasn't employed by the company in 2019, but the records were available. The emails were in your system. The proposal documents were in your files. Bryce shifted in his seat. I assumed we were purchasing cutting-edge technology from an external developer. You assumed incorrectly. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. They found in my favor on every count. Patent infringement, unlicensed commercial usage, and damages for lost licensing revenue, $14 in dollar judgment. Plus legal fees. Bryce's lawyers immediately filed an appeal. The appeals court scheduled hearings for September, 7 months away. Meanwhile, the plant stayed shut down, bleeding money every day. By June, word was spreading through the manufacturing community that Midwest Industrial Solutions was in serious trouble. Suppliers started demanding cash payments. Customers canceled orders. 3 major clients switched to competitors who could actually deliver products on schedule. The company's board of directors called an emergency meeting in July. Carl Hoffman, who'd somehow survived the purge that brought Bryce in, was named interim CEO. His first decision was to settle the lawsuit out of court. The settlement conference took place in Sheffield's office on a hot Tuesday in August. Carl looked older than his 58 years, stress lines carved deep around his eyes. Warren, we screwed up. Bad. Company's looking at bankruptcy if this drags out much longer. I know, I said. That's why we're here. Carl spread out financial statements across Sheffield's conference table. The numbers told the story better than any PowerPoint presentation. 8 months of zero production, $2.8 million licensing fee paid to a middleman for technology they could have licensed directly from me for $500,000. Legal costs approaching $400,000. Customer contracts canceled, supplier relationships destroyed. What do you want, Warren? $12 million licensing fee. Discounted from the $14.22 million judgment because we're settling. Plus my job back, senior systems engineer, $95,000 salary with full pension restoration. The board will never approve $12 million company doesn't have that kind of cash flow, then sell the company. I hear Great Lakes Manufacturing Solutions is looking to expand their Michigan operations. They actually understand the value of experienced engineering staff. Carl's face went gray. Great Lakes was Midwest Industrial's biggest competitor. They'd been circling like vultures ever since word got out about the patent lawsuit. You'd work for them, I'd work for anyone who respects 27 years of engineering experience instead of calling it legacy baggage. The settlement took another 3 weeks to negotiate. Final terms. $10 million licensing fee paid over 24 months, plus exclusive hiring rights if the company changed ownership, plus public acknowledgement of my role as Sullivan system architect. Midwest Industrial Solutions filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection 2 weeks later. The factory, equipment, and customer contracts were sold to Great Lakes Manufacturing Solutions for $18 million. Great Lakes assumed the licensing agreement and honored the settlement terms. They offered me my job back on the first day of the acquisition. Senior systems engineer, $95,000 salary, full health benefits, pension restoration, and profit sharing, plus oversight of the Sullivan system integration for their entire Michigan operation. I took it. The first thing I did was unlock the Sullivan control systems. Took about 20 minutes to enter the proper authorization codes and run a full diagnostic. Everything checked out perfectly. The system had been waiting 8 months for someone who actually knew how to operate it. Eddie Kowalski stayed on as floor supervisor. Great Lakes promoted him to production manager, recognizing that 15 years of shop floor experience couldn't be replaced by consulting reports. They kept most of the original crew, understanding that good manufacturing depends on people who know the equipment. We're running 3 shifts now. The Sullivan automation handles the precision work while experienced operators manage quality control and troubleshooting. Productivity is up 40% over the old manual systems. 0 major breakdowns in 6 months of operation. Bryce Whitman left Michigan shortly after the bankruptcy filing. Last I heard, he was working for a venture capital firm in Chicago, probably telling other investors how to optimize companies they don't understand. Some people never learn. Tommy starts at Michigan Tech this fall. Mechanical engineering program, full tuition paid in advance from the settlement money. He's planning to specialize in automotive automation systems. I told him the same thing I learned in the Navy. Document everything. File your patents early and never let anyone convince you that experience is worthless. Great Lakes Manufacturing Solutions respects the fact that good automation requires people who understand both the technology and the production process. They're expanding the Sullivan system to their Indiana and Ohio facilities, with me overseeing the installations. Turns out there's a big market for automation technology that actually works when you have proper technical support. The settlement money secured Tommy's education and my retirement. The job restoration gave me something more valuable, proof that experience and preparation beat arrogance every time. The patent portfolio is now licensed to 4 different manufacturing companies across the Midwest, generating steady royalty income that'll last well into retirement. I keep a copy of the original patent documents in my toolbox, not because I need the reminder, but because sometimes the young engineers need to understand that intellectual property protection isn't just legal paperwork. It's insurance against people who think your life's work is disposable. The reactor's been running smooth ever since we got real engineers back in the control room. The kind of people who understand that cutting-edge technology still needs experienced hands to make it work properly. Carl Hoffman retired 6 months after the sale. He apologized personally for not backing the Sullivan proposal back in 2019. Said if he'd had the courage to stand up to the bean counters, none of this would have happened. I respect that. Takes character to admit when you've screwed up. The new management team at Great Lakes asks for my input on major technical decisions. They understand that 27 years of engineering experience represents institutional knowledge you can't buy from consultants or download from the internet. When they're evaluating new automation proposals, they want someone who's actually built systems that work in real manufacturing environments. Tommy's learning to weld this weekend. I'm teaching him the same precision techniques they taught me in the Navy. Steady hands, clean joints, respect for the materials. The fundamentals never go out of style, no matter how much technology advances. Legacy baggage still makes me smile when I think about it. You know what? This story isn't really about patents or lawsuits or corporate revenge. It's about something bigger. Every day in this country, companies are throwing away decades of experience because some MBA with a spreadsheet thinks efficiency comes from cutting payroll costs. They're firing the people who actually know how things work, replacing them with consultants and automation they don't understand. Then they act surprised when everything falls apart. Here's what I learned. Document your work, protect your ideas, and never let anyone convince you that experience is worthless. Because sooner or later, they're going to need someone who actually knows how to fix what they broke. When that day comes, make sure you're the one holding the keys, and make sure they pay fair market value for the privilege.